and welcome to episode 78 of the Red Leaf Retrocast. I'm your host, JD, bringing us Retro Gaming Edition, joined by Joey, Colin, and the special guest that joins me for a lot of the wrestling talk and his own wrestling podcast, Big Egg Joshi Podcast. It's Kay. How you doing?
All right. How about yourself?
I'm doing fantastic. A little more peppy than yesterday. That's for sure.
I see.
It was a little slow yesterday all day. That's fine. We're talking 3D Fighters. This is your theme pick, Kay, because you are the guest.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. Joey.
Kevin's not here.
Kevin is not here. He's busy off doing his younger, hotter, more attractive podcast he tells me about. Podcast that shall not be named. I refuse. But if you really want to know, you should go to @ConsoleKev at Twitter. Just to berate him on his about his podcast.
Yes, berate him about it, yes.
That's
what you're going for.
Comment away over how young and pretty and handsome his podcast probably is. God.
Use those exact words.
I bet he doesn't have 3DO games on his podcast.
Dude, look. I guarantee he does not.
Listen.
But I think he did talk about it in one of his episodes, because now he just can't help himself. It is in his life forever.
Oh,
Joey, you got eyeball surgery yesterday. Did you get in a fight with a table?
I think it damaged him, probably.
No. And it was on Friday. I got eyeball surgery, okay? Keep track of days. Come on.
Can you still see?
Yeah, I see perfect.
Oh. Still got the scotch tape and plastic over him?
No, only when I sleep.
Only when you... Why only when you sleep?
I don't know. They told me to wear it the first day, and then the next 5 days for when I'm sleeping. I guess so I don't actually poke my eyes in my sleep.
Oh, huh. Or maybe your significant other doesn't turn the bed and just start punching you in the face, meeting you in Mortal Kombat.
Well, I mean, that plastic's not that strong. I'm pretty sure she might be able to break it and shatter it into my eyeball, and that would suck.
Oh, that would suck. You would need a second eyeball surgery.
Hey, as long as I don't miss my rechecks, I get a free touch-up in the next 2 years if anything happens, so...
So no more glasses, eh?
Nope.
How about that? How long have you had them? When did you start wearing glasses? 11?
8th grade. So, I don't know how long ago that was.
14, I think.
Yeah, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
2002, 2003, something like that? I don't know. Forever ago.
Yeah, I started wearing glasses in 16 because I had to get a license. Yeah, that's when I started.
Mine was, 6th grade? First day of 6th grade. I couldn't see the chalkboard.
Oh. That's
It
concerning.
was all blurry. It's like, all happened all of a sudden. I don't know how it all of a sudden happened, but it just did. And I needed glasses immediately.
Oh.
I think I noticed because I couldn't see the chalkboard because I was sat in the back of the class and I was like, I can't read anything.
I guess that makes me
that was
the
mine
only
too.
person...
Like, everything was a blur. I couldn't see anything.
I guess that makes me the only person on this cast who's never had to wear glasses.
Glasses are cool. It's like smoking in school. Only the cool kids have them.
I gotta push him up with a cool anime character.
Yeah, you'll never have that feeling, Colin.
Somehow I don't think I'll lose any sleep over
Make
it.
a witty comment and epically take them off and then stare at the person that you could hardly see.
Let them glint off the lenses.
Yeah, I never knew I needed glasses until I took the driver's test, and they made me close one eye, and I was like, oh, come to think of it, I've never had to do that in my life. I could read the chalkboard, I could read all that, although white on green was always weird to me. I still have this weird problem with really making out how the letters come out. Wasn't an issue in Germany, though, because they don't have chalkboards over there. And if they do, it's just a classic black and white. But they use a sponge in wet water to clean it all the time. They don't have erasers.
So they used whiteboards?
Yes, it was mostly whiteboards.
Cool.
Yeah, that's how it was.
It's much more efficient.
Yeah, they also had sinks and windows in the classrooms. Go figure. How about that, Joey?
Sinks and windows.
Yeah.
Sounds
Remember
like kindergarten class.
Well, we went to a high school where windows were not allowed.
Oh, Jesus. How does that work?
You get into that school, you will not see the sun for the rest of the day.
Oh,
Sounds like prison.
Yes, it was.
Only a few classrooms had windows, but yeah, most of them didn't. All the hallways had windows, so they set it up so you walk in the hallway, it had windows, but all the classrooms were mostly interior, so there was no windows.
Well, that's
Cool
dumb.
stuff. I mean, there was the urban myth that the high school was built originally as a prison, and then they just went, you know what? Fuck it. Let's turn it into a high school. Let's send the teenagers there.
But they continued it when they built the freshman center that we were the first class to go into.
Well, yeah, they
That
expanded
sounds
it.
about right.
Well, okay, so the high school for, I want to say, a good 10, 15 years, students kept, more and more kids were getting in, so they had to keep adding what they call T-shacks to the school. And this was going into the junior highs and elementary schools as well. So the district finally decided, oh my god, we have like 20 of these things. We have 20 classrooms of shacks that kids have to go into. And they were also finding kids were, if they went outside the building, they would start skipping school because they were allowed to run away. And so they finally decided to expand the school and create what they call the freshman center, where classrooms actually did have windows. Yeah, expand the prison into the isolation ward.
Only the one side had windows. Most of the other ones, they had the hallway with all the windows.
Right. If you were on the outside of the hallway classrooms, which was the majority of them, which I think most of I didn't have any. No, I had one class that didn't have.
I had all interior classes.
All opposites. Opposite experiences. So yeah, we were the first ones. I broke a locker in my first year. That was cool. Just opened it and the hinges fell off. It was like, oh, this was made well.
Yeah, they really like to segregate us as ninth graders because we even had our own lunchroom.
Yeah, this is the isolation ward. Can't have those big kids making fun of us not being able to drive.
Your guys' school sounds like a legit prison.
Well, I mean, it was Texas.
We were closest to the parking lot, though.
But if we can't drive, what's the point?
I don't know.
Getting mocked as you see everyone else drive away.
Yeah, it's fine. Joey lived like a block away from school, so he just walked home anyways.
Yep.
I rode a bike. A bicycle.
I was
Anyways.
actually too close to take the bus. Thank you very much.
Yeah, excuses. You just wanted to stay in wrestling shape. We know the deal.
No, I literally didn't have a bus stop. I was too close.
Nope, don't believe it. Anyways, 3D Fighters is why we're here. It was Kay's pick. Why did you pick 3D Fighters as today's theme?
Well, because I listened to you guys' 2D Fighter episode, or the Fighter episode way back you guys did.
Yes.
And got me to thinking, because I play a lot of fighting games. I don't know if I've ever said that. But and I play a lot of 3D Fighters. That was what I played a lot when I was younger, on the arcades and everything. Tekken 3, DOA, and all that stuff. Virtual Fighter. And that was something I brought to your attention. It's like, hey, do you guys have an idea for like a 3D Fighter episode? And I guess that's what this is, right?
That's exactly what this is. And it's not so since the what's the other term? The free roaming fighter?
Arena fighters.
Arena fighters, yes. It's not those. These are still, I guess technically stuck planes of existence, but now you can go up and down.
Up and down, left and right, yes.
Yes.
Arena fighters have free motion.
Yeah, a little different, not free. Well, what would you call Dragon Ball Z then? Those games. I guess they became
some
arena
of them
fighters.
are arena fighters.
Yeah, they became.
Yeah, they became them. Yeah. It's kind of like the Naruto games. Those Naruto Ninja Storm games. Those are arena fighters.
You're right.
There's free movement.
They were originally. You're right. I have a Naruto fighting game on the PS2, and it's really fun. And they're not fucking super powered up to existence. Yeah, that was originally this 2D kind of pseudo 3D as well. Okay, cool.
Right. Like the old Budokai games were the same thing. They were just 3D fighters, but you can go up and down. Most 3D fighters, you can only go left and right, but it's still a 3D fighter because there's no free movement.
Right.
You still have to sidestep and go up and down and do extra inputs to go up and down.
Yeah. So I believe also on our last fighting game episode, we had a guest on because they were very technical knowledge, and this time you're on, Kay, to bring us all with the technical knowledge of these games.
Yes. Well, few of them I played. Not all of them I have, though, before now.
Oh, I played all these. I regret a couple of them.
Like your pick?
Whoa, let's not get ahead of ourselves, guys. Come on, let's give it a chance.
You'll love what I wrote about that game, though, JD.
Hooray!
I will tell you exactly word for word all the notes I have written down.
Awesome. I can't wait, and I'm sure the listeners can't wait as well for JD's amazing video game pick of the podcast, which is always a winner. Always a winner. Okay, so, Colin, how have you been, and what games have you been playing?
Oh, I've been pretty good. I'm just getting adjusted to my job, my new job, collecting garbage. It's been quite an interesting ride. In fact, Friday, was quite interesting because I had a couple of memorable incidents. At one point, I was going up to one house to collect some organic waste, and then I notice under the lid of that bin, I see a little furry tail poking out. So I'm like, holy fuck! Jump back a couple feet, and then it turned out to be a raccoon. It just crawled up the nearest tree.
Oh, you didn't catch him, take him home, and call him Rocky?
I'm not catching what that thing's carrying.
Oh, come on, it can't be any worse than what's going around right now.
It could be exactly what's going around right now, so that's the problem.
Okay. Well, I mean, as long as you don't get tested for whatever it is, you'll be fine, right? That's how it works.
Oh, yes, exactly how it works.
I don't have the flu. I didn't get tested for it.
Right.
Come on.
But yeah, that same day though, we were at another like side street. We're getting ready to move to the next one. All of a sudden, lost all of our air pressure to our brakes.
Ooh.
So
sounds dangerous.
Epic.
Yeah, but the way air brakes are designed is if they lose all the air pressure, then the spring brakes activate and then stops the vehicle anyway. It's a fail-safe. So we had to call for a repair truck to come by, and we waited for an hour, just napping, pissing in a nearby outhouse, and then turned out one of the hoses underneath the truck, its fitting wasn't tight enough, so the hose popped right out, but it was an easy fix, and we were able to continue working. And I also finally got my payout for my previous job, all my vacation comp and termination pay.
Sweet.
A cool $6,800.
All right.
So you better believe I'm going to treat myself to a Nintendo Switch, for sure.
Yeah, assuming you can find one, of course.
Because that has the better battery life, anyway.
Yeah, the new... I was at a GameStop getting Crash 4, It's About Time. Good game, by the way. I won't go into it on this particular podcast. But the new Animal Crossing kind of Switch came out. And it looked pretty neat.
Nice. Yeah, there's a bunch of games I want to get on the Switch. In fact, as of later this month, there's going to be a re-release or a remaster of Angry Video Game Nerd: The Game 1 and 2. It looks pretty fun, so I want to try getting that.
It's funny you mentioned that because that guy just put out a video over Echo the Dolphin, and
I
could relate so much to that game. And he stopped playing before he even got to the worst levels.
And the ending was fucking hilarious.
I love how every time he because that was the experience I had, because I was drinking during that game as well. Every time he died and had to restart the level because of the whole air problem and these fucking crabs coming at him like through the pictures, and he just keeps progressively drinking more and more and more until he finishes a beer, then a keg, and then he just starts drinking in a bathtub. And I love the moment in the bathtub of beer where then he grabs a beer under the beer and starts drinking it. I was like, yes, feelings 100% right there. I feel you, AVGN. This is why this guy is way more famous than any of us.
Yeah.
It's that kind of comedy right there.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, go on.
Yeah. So, I've been pretty busy with work, but on my days off, I've been just playing Crosscode. That's right. Time for my bi-weekly update, people.
Hey, that's fine. It's going to be your Final Fantasy VI for a while.
Absolutely.
But will it last as long? I hope not.
Yeah, it's hard to say, but I think I'm at about the halfway point.
Okay.
Things have gotten interesting story-wise. A twist about our main character Lee has come about.
What happened?
I'm not telling.
What?
Nah.
But we're here. We're listening. I want to know.
Yes, and so is the audience. A bunch of people.
Oh, who cares? If they haven't played it now, they're not going to play it ever.
I mean, I thought it was kind of a predictable twist, but the way it's executed is really good. You really feel for the main character for the next while.
I see. Okay.
And I forgot to mention last time that among the anime references, there's a subtle Kill la Kill reference in there.
Ah.
In one of the guild areas, they have a whole bunch of statues of various heroes, and one of them looks like the character Satsuki in her normal wide foot stance with hands on the sword hilt type deal. And the plaque says Goku Seifuku, which is the Japanese version's name for these superpowered school uniforms that give the wearers major boosts in strength.
I see. That's a nice little reference there. In a way, I was really hoping it was going to say something like "Step on Me" or something, because that would be really in the realm of what Kill la Kill was.
Yeah. Maybe for one of the characters.
Well, various things.
I mean, come on, that the masochism in that show was high level.
Oh, no, there was a lot of that show. I like that show, though. It's good.
Step on me, spit on me, take my clothes off.
Oh, boy.
An entire character dedicated to that.
Yes, there was. That's why I'm saying this.
Oh, boy.
Joey, you should watch Kill la Kill.
I did.
Oh, you did? Okay, cool. Never mind then.
But yeah, that's pretty much everything I've been playing aside from podcast games. I'm very pressed for time aside from my 3-day weekends. But even on those weekends, I have to go to the laundromat and wash my work clothes that are basically a biohazard from occasionally getting splashed with organic juice. That shit's disgusting.
Yummy.
Well, you become a zombie, though.
Oh, yeah. Isn't that from Zombie Ate My Neighbors? Isn't that the juice that... Yeah.
Nah, this shit is like... It's like rotten fruit juices along with dog poop and a few other things that I probably won't remember and probably don't want to remember. And it stinks to high heaven.
Ignorance is bliss in this case.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I've been playing.
Well, before we go on to Joey here, because I do want to know his thoughts over a game. I had quite the ordeal between last night and this morning. This is just a nice little side funny story, I guess. Have you guys ever realized your stove is absolutely disgusting and has a lot of grease on them? This has happened to everybody, right?
No, I keep mine clean.
At times.
Okay, well, I realized I had cooked for 2 weeks and just didn't clean the stove off, so there was a bunch of grease and shit piled up. I'm like, oh, this is gross. I gotta clean this before I cook anything, right?
Yes.
I probably should have cooked and then cleaned it, because I cleaned it. It took 30 minutes. It was ridiculous. And then I started setting up, getting the cook, I'm about to flip the pan, and I realized I had accidentally spilled a bunch of shit onto the stove that I just cleaned. So I went, this is a disaster. I was so pissed off at myself and this ordeal that I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go out to Taco Bell. It's the only thing open at like 9 o'clock at night. Gonna go get that. I'm gonna get the stacker box. It's that like folded pizza taco thing that they got going on.
Nice.
I'm like, all right, give me a stacker box and a 5-layer burrito. Right? It's like, okay. It's like $8. I'm like, okay, get home. I even check the bag, and I see that it's one of those Taco Bell KFC mixed places.
Oh no.
Okay.
Feel me so far? You see where this is going.
Oh yes.
So I check the bag because something inevitably always goes wrong at these places. Like, don't get your order right. I check it. I'm like, okay, the wrapper says 5-layer burrito. They have a box inside that says, stacker box. I'm like, cool. Everything's in there. En contraire.
Uh-oh.
I know what you're asking. None of that was in there. Instead, I got popcorn shrimp from KFC and a shredded chicken thingamajig. So the order was completely wrong. I was so irritated that I just ate it in fury. And then I wake up. I'm like, okay. Then I had another realization that I've had this pair of underwear forever. Right? Okay? No, I didn't shit myself. That's not where it's going.
Huh.
But I took my shower, went to put it on, and I realized, man, I've had this underwear for a while. At least a couple years. Should probably get a new one. In that moment of that thought, my thumb goes through like the waistband and apparently rips the underwear like in half. I'm like, oh, I need to get another one. I think I need new underwear.
Oh boy.
So I'm wondering how long like the seam and hole has been developing, just slowly hanging on just the tiniest of thread before finally it just went boom. Because this was just epic. It was literally half of the band all the way around just ripped right through as I pulled them up. I'm like, damn.
Jesus. I don't think I've ever had that happen.
I guess my 2 push-ups every morning is really paying off if I can rip cloth like Hulk Hogan over here, So,
yeah, you'll never measure up to the workout that garbage collecting gives you. I've lost 5 pounds.
I can't believe you're comparing my epic 2 push-ups every morning compared to your garbage collecting.
Oh, you better believe I am.
Dude, my shoulders are ripped. Dude, Colin, I just ripped through pure cotton this morning. I don't know what you did, but anyways.
I ripped through reinforced plastic to get at recycling materials.
Mm-hmm. So that was my side story. Joey, you got Hades during the last podcast. I got to know what you think of this game, your favorite moments, all this stuff.
I like it. I just think that there's a steep curve with the third boss, the Minotaur and the champion. Like, I can't get past it.
I'm stuck on that motherfucker too.
Like, one time I killed the champion and then the Minotaur just raped me. So I've been trying to focus on the Minotaur first, and I can't even kill him before I die. No matter like how well I'm doing up to that point, I can't get past the fight.
He takes like all 3 of your lives kind of situation.
Yeah, and it's just like they do so much damage, and I do so little to them. I even had a setup where I was doing had plus 300% to my special, plus like 80% from another one. Like, I had all these additions to my special, and I was still doing like no damage to them. So I don't know what I need to do to get past that. I don't know if I just need to maybe get a bunch of Titan blood and just get my weapons better. I don't know. It's just, I feel like I'm stuck.
That's the point. I'm stuck as well. Even before that, I believe it's like the midway point of that level where there's a giant blob thing in the middle, and it's just a ton of enemies within this. It's just a square arena basically, and there's a billion of those. There's a bunch of gold armor dudes. I was stuck on that midpoint for a while, but yeah, the Minotaur and champion are just, they're assholes. They're so difficult.
Yeah, and I'm just, I guess, a little confused on how far I am in the game, actually, because I don't know if there's going to be more upgrades in the mirror, because I've already got all the upgrades in the mirror twice now, and I don't know if they're ever coming back or what's going to happen. So, I don't know. This game just...
Well, there's only one more area, I think, after the Minotaur.
Yeah, but then you can like keep doing runs because there's a lot of things to unlock and whatnot. And your weapons can upgrade. I just don't know like progression wise how close I am or how far off I really am, kind of thing.
I think both of us are pretty close. We need to upgrade weapons first and
That's
foremost.
what I was thinking. So I just need to figure out how to get the Titan blood and not the other currency they drop from the sisters.
So good game though? Really fun gameplay?
I like it. I like the artwork. It's a lot of fun. I think I played about 30 hours of it.
Whoa, okay.
Whoa.
All right, you've really put in the time.
Yeah, I played it that Sunday after the podcast, and then the Monday after during work.
During work?
Well, I was blocked at work. I couldn't do anything, so I play video games instead.
Yeah, there's 8 hours right there.
Yep.
All right. So you would recommend this game to other people?
Yeah, if you like roguelike games.
Hades. Well, Colin, what was the name of that other roguelike that we played that we really liked? I guess it was last year?
Dead Cells?
Dead Cells, yes. I think it's better than Dead Cells. I think it's an easier entry point.
I think I've only played like an hour of Dead Cells.
Is it available on Switch?
Hades?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I'm playing
so.
it.
Yeah, I think that was like the big thing of when it came out of early access. It got released on Switch.
Cool. And maybe that'll be one of the other games I get for it.
Yeah, $20. It's well worth it. Kay, what have you been playing?
Genshin Impact. Literally just that.
Waifu of the Wild.
Waifu of the Wild, yes. It's story doesn't mean anything, but the combat's fun. At least I'm enjoying the combat and the sense of progression. It's been fun so far.
It's a mobile game port that's free on the PS4 for those that are wondering.
Yes, it is a Chinese-made mobile game. That is for sure.
Yeah, it's the best description is it's mobile game advancement, but it's Zelda Breath of the Wild mechanics throughout. And then you use in-game kind of currency. Of course, you can buy them yourselves.
Yep.
It's free, so I'm less aggravated about it. But yeah, you can get other waifu characters and whatnot along the way. That is the premise of the game. I played for I think I played for like 3 or 4 hours, and then I just got bored. It's very repetitive, so I found it as. I'll talk more about it.
I think I put a total of 22 hours in.
My man.
I'm enjoying it, and then I'm playing. Tried to go back to, was it 13 Sentinels? That that Atlas game that was recently published, the vanillaware one. Yeah. I still don't like the story progression in that game, so I get frustrated and stop playing it after a while. Here it's crazy. The story is pretty crazy, but I just can't get past the weird sense of progression for the story.
Yeah, I have a friend here that that bought that game, and I'm waiting for him to finish it so I can borrow it from him to play it more myself. I've only watched a good chunk of the prologue stories on YouTube so far to kind of familiarize myself with the story. So, for those that are wondering, the Modern Gamecast for September has been pushed back a month. There just hasn't been enough time for me to get a hold of all the games. I haven't even played Spelunky 2 yet, unfortunately. So there's a little update there. Side tangent. Just throwing that out there for listeners. So, just Genshin Impact there, Kay?
Pretty much just Genshin.
Yeah. A new Tekken 7 character was released, right? Or about to be released?
Yes.
I know you're excited about that one. There we go. 3D fighter.
Oh, definitely. So it's a pretty big deal because she hasn't been in a game since Tekken Tag 2, but she hasn't been in an individual game since Tekken 2. It's it's actually not even the character herself. It's her daughter, because Tekken does that progression with the characters over time, where the kids will be played kind of like Julia Chang in Tekken 3. So it's pretty cool. I'm happy for it. I've never played as her, so.
Alrighty. Well, I've been playing Hades. That's taken up a good chunk of time. I'm stuck exactly where Joey was, as I mentioned. Played Crash 4. It's exactly what I wanted in a Crash game to be, especially with the number 4. It's very beautiful and fun little artwork to look at. It's if you are a fan of the original trilogy, I would say you would not be disappointed with Crash 4. That's the short version, but the reason we're all here, the true reason, the reason we can get behind why you even listen to this section of the podcast is my Final Fantasy VI update. And guys, I gotta play the Final Fantasy VI ending theme.
Oh, you're done?
Oh, the day happened, guys. I worked my ass off to finish this game. I defeated, murdered, beat the asshole evil clown overlord Kefka.
Woohoo.
Oh, I'm so happy with myself.
Nice.
Oh man, yeah. So I beat all. It got to the point where I've been playing this game so long, and I got all the characters, except Shadow. I didn't save him. Apparently, you could have in the early part of the game. So I even got the 2 bonus secret characters, which is one's a Yeti, and then another is this random dude in a cave who's just hanging out, and he's just like, "Oh, you look like you need some help on your adventure of the things. I will join you." And they're like, "Cool, I guess." His name's Go-Go. Very strange. He's basically a magic mimic, where he just automatically has everything you've learned in the game. A very useful character that you just find randomly in a cave. I believe it was called the Hidon Cave. Yeah, I beat the Tower of Magic. That was very successful. Not as hard as I thought it was going to be, but it did cost 100,000 gil to get in there, so that was lame. And then I beat all 8 dragons, all of them, and boy is that not worth it in any sense of the term. The dragons themselves are pretty cool. My favorite one was definitely the Dirt Dragon, who's just kind of hanging out in the middle of an opera house. That was funny.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. But yeah, once you beat all 8 dragons, you get another Magicite ability, right? And it's not Meteor, I forget what it's called off the top of my head, but the point is that you activate this thing, and what happens is it equates the damage dealt to you and your party. And it immediately KO'd me and came over.
Jeez.
And I got it, and of course I was in Kefka's tower, right? So that's the end part of the game. So I KO'd and it kicked me all the way back out. I'm like, fuck! So that sucked. Well, it didn't kick me all the way out, because when you first get in, there's a mini-boss that, when you beat the mini-boss, it puts a save point in Kefka's tower. So that was nice. So it kicked me to that point. So I'm like, well, that's worthless. Why would I want to use this thing? I even looked it up. I'm like, why would this thing be of any use, especially when I have the Ultima spell and everything? Well, the idea is if you don't have the Ultima spell or something, or didn't come across some of these stronger spells in the game, that you would use this spell and, put certain armor on your party that could deflect the spell to make it even stronger. That's the whole situation there. I'm like, alright, whatever. So, the end game of Kefka, I died twice, and this tower takes 2 hours to go through, minimum, without dying. It is long. So I get to Kefka, and you just don't get to Kefka. He has this, I called it the Demon Tower of Pizza. Okay? Because it is just this conglomeration of demon enemies. Awesome artwork, I have to say. You fight 6 of them or some nonsense in a row, and the screen kind of just moves up as you're beating them and fighting them, and then you finally get to Kefka. And the game does this really cool thing where you organize your entire party of, 12, 13, 14 characters in an order, 1 through 16, and obviously the first 4 are going to be your first party you go through. So if a character dies in battle, he swaps out with another character in your party in that list, in that order. So it's like, oh, that's a really cool mechanic. And of course, when you're in Kefka's Tower, it splits you into 3 parties. So that's why it also took me really long, because I went in, I was like, okay, I got a battle plan here. I clap my hands together, I'm rubbing them. Okay, so I have 6 characters that are, like over level 50. I'm ready. I got 4, and then I got 2 extra characters, and then maybe like 2 others in the low mid 40s, just in case they split me into 2 parties. This fucking game splits me into 3, so now I have to split up my strong characters even more. Of course, I died like right away, and I had to find myself grinding a couple other characters for a little while. I was like, damn it, this game. So yeah, Kefka killed me the first time I faced him, because I ended up making it up I'm so glad I had the ultimate spell. Because if I didn't have this ultimate spell, I would have had a real tough time.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so I beat all the demons. It wasn't the easiest thing in the world, but Kefka has these wild-ass spells that like one-hit KO you if you don't have the right armor equipped, so very similar to the Magicite special that you get from killing all the dragons. It's a very, very epic fight. It definitely feels like an endgame. The game ends with a short little like video clip series of all the characters and like what they're doing afterwards and everything. It was a very satisfying experience. The epic is finally over. I have beaten Final Fantasy VI. It was very much worth my time. It took me over 45 hours to do it. So, almost just a little bit longer than Joey playing Hades right now, I guess. Is the way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is it my favorite Final Fantasy game that I've played? No. I wouldn't put it that high. I love the story. I love the kind of cyberpunky fantasy world that they got built on. I really like the story progression to like the bad guy actually does win halfway through, and then it's a revamp forming the party. Very simplistic in what it's being told. I wasn't really a fan of the forced party splits, and I wish the map had better sense of direction, because I did find myself going to a walkthrough for a lot of the more important things of the game I felt you really need, because then otherwise the game was way too difficult for my sense of progression. Kind of wish the story made a little bit more congruent sense to each other, but it is a much older game. I can definitely see why when Final Fantasy VII came out now in a full retrospect, along with 8 and 9, and as the series has progressed, they've really focused more on the story and characters. So I think 6 was a good base point for a lot of that, and you can't discount that. I really did enjoy the game. I'm very glad I did beat this. It was an epic 2020 adventure. So yeah, patting myself on the shoulder. I came through. Now I think Panzer Dragoon Saga is the next one I got to do. But I have promised myself that I want to play, maybe beat Bravely Default finally, or at least familiarize myself with the characters and story before the sequel comes out. Because I didn't. It's been so long, and I didn't get very far the first time I played it, even though I did love the game. So I think that's my next RPG adventure. We'll see if I beat it fast enough. I did kind of just charge the 3DS last night and got through the intro sequence, and so I'm ready for some Bravely Default. It seems. We'll see if I do in fact finish Panzer Dragoon Saga to get back on how that game turned out. I'm not going to hold my own breath on that one. Because it's just not the mood I'm in for currently. And then there's, of course, Hollow Knight I want to get back to. I've had a urge to play that ever since Colin brought it back up on the podcast. And, of course, the Yakuza series, which I've just been pinching away at over the course of 2020. I mean, when the thing is, I'm trying not to burn myself out on that series, and it had happened before with by the time I got to Yakuza 4. But I have only these 2 games left, and then it's Yakuza 7. Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I won't. I'm losing hope on it. So it's my gaming plan for the rest of the year, because it doesn't look like any of us are going to get a PS5 or Xbox Series in 2020.
Not so far.
Nope,
Yeah.
definitely not.
And with that, I guess I'll play the last time the Final Fantasy VI drop as we go into just some short little topics here. Long intro of just kind of catching up in what we've been doing, but hey, we got fighting games to talk about later, so maybe it won't be as in-depth as usual. Here we go. I will say the music of Final Fantasy VI was fucking awesome. That was one of the best parts of the game, for sure.
Yeah, I heard it so wonderfully just now.
That's what I've
you
heard.
You also heard the ending theme all throughout when I was talking about it. I'm so glad you guys heard that.
Totally heard it. Awesome music there.
Yes. So we have 3 topics of discussion here. The first point is the Minecraft character is coming to Super Smash Bros. Ultimate.
Oh boy, I saw that this morning. People mad. I guess you don't meme too hard, otherwise Nintendo thinks you actually want the character.
Well,
because that's what it was. It was a meme for a while. There's Minecraft Steve is gonna make the game instead of Banjo. People were like, it's gonna be Minecraft Steve.
Well, Banjo isn't it?
I know, but that was before Banjo got revealed. This meme has been going on for like over a year, I think, at this point.
Oh, you're talking about the meme. Okay. Banjo is in the game right now.
Right. But it's the meme of Minecraft Steve being the character that nobody wants. And they meme so hard that Sakurai must be like, these people must want this character.
Oh, boy.
Well, I mean, be careful what you wish for then.
Right.
I don't mind
quotes.
Well, here's the thing. I don't mind that he's a character in the game. This is... When you look at the Smash Brothers series now and where it's at, it's a celebration of gaming in one environmental game, right?
Right.
And I don't like Minecraft at all, but I am more than willing to admit this game has its mark on history. It's one of the most popular games of all time. Like, it's up there, whether you want to admit it or not, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, which really is hysterical, is you don't have to buy the character. If you're so upset, don't buy the character.
Imagine. Yeah, this reminds me of when Street Fighter was releasing its characters before Season 3, which was when they put a lot of the fan favorite characters in. They're like, hey guys, you guys want these new characters like Rashid and stuff like that? But like, no, we don't. We want Blanca and Sakura, and so people got mad back then at that stuff. But you just don't have to buy the characters. So right. I agree with that.
I mean, I don't... Smash makes sense why they have DLC characters with just the amount of work and extra content they keep putting out for the game. Because there does come a point, I guess, when I personally have mentally crossed that line of, alright, you gave us a game with like 70 characters. I guess it's not a big deal to pay like another $20 for the amount of extra content that you're putting out here. There does become a time, because then there's the flip side where it's Street Fighter V, where you come out with 8 characters, and then the roster triples with money. That's stupid.
Right. Well, Steve makes more sense than Negan in Tekken 7, that's for sure.
Yes, very true. Very true.
That's a character that does not fit even in the world that Tekken has.
I believe he was in Soulcalibur 2?
Negan?
What was that? I mean, we'll get spoiler. We're gonna get to Soulcalibur 2. I played the Xbox version, and there was like another weird Marvel character that were thrown in that was created by the same dude who did Spawn.
Spawn. So
I forget his name.
Heihachi.
Necrid? You mean Necrid?
Yes.
Yeah, that guy. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, that's who I was thinking of. So I had to look him up. I'm like, who is this fucking guy? He seems very out of place.
He doesn't. I don't think he shows up in another game after that, too.
Yeah. Anyways, I guess it's like that kind of like that situation.
Something like that. Though I will say before we continue, I forget to mention the character that you said was coming into Tekken 7. That's Kunimitsu. I forgot to mention her name.
Yes, that is
for those curious.
Okay. So yeah, people upset. I say if it truly causes you physical pain and mental anguish, don't buy the character. I think it's pretty simple.
Yeah, don't buy them.
Yeah.
I mean, they got mad when the Fire Emblem character got revealed, the one from Three Houses. People got real mad.
Dude, I love all the Fire Emblem
I think they're worse than this.
Game.
They got real mad. They all play the same, apparently, even though they kind of don't.
Yeah, I think that's because there's so many of them in the roster.
I mean, it's an easy character to make for that. It's a sword character, so I think that's why he makes so many of them, because it's just easier to make them than having a full moveset for some characters.
Oh my god, speaking of that, I watched a YouTube video over a guy breaking down how much effort and just upgrades and tweaks that the game has to go through just to put in Minecraft Steve. It's insane, because there's a whole block building mechanic with this character.
Oh, yeah,
so every stage and character tweak affects the entire roster and environments and bustable environments and attacks. It's crazy how much it takes to, because that he compared it to not exactly the same, but kind of in the same sense of Bayonetta going into the Wii U Smash Brothers and how much it kind of broke the game.
Oh yeah, it did. She was busted, super busted.
So it doesn't want a repeat instance of that because of Minecraft Steve. But in all honesty, I kind of want the character to be a broken thing, because that would just be poetry in motion to me. It's like, oh, you spent $5 on Minecraft Steve, you win.
I mean, it's the same thing happened with the Dragon Quest character, the hero character. That character was like so unique in Smash that I think it broke the game for a while. That he had an attack that was like invincible and destroyed everything. But it was such an RNG attack. It was an RNG attack, so like sometimes you didn't get it.
Oh yes, the full RPG element added to the character only for the Dragon Quest character. Yeah,
only
you're right.
For the Dragon Quest character. Yep.
I gotta play more Smash. Kay, we gotta play Smash together. Get your Switch online.
I will then. I'm not very good at it though.
Me neither. I suck, but Smash. I like being the Pikmin character and trolling. I just throw the purple dude at you over and over again and run away.
I play Zero Suit Samus, and only Zero Suit Samus.
Joey, I know you're very upset over the Smash news. You just need to calm your emotions down.
So upset. I play so much Smash.
But you're very upset over Minecraft Steve. Just not getting the love, right?
Yeah, Minecraft Steve's awesome. I do like Minecraft, so you guys gotta learn to love Steve.
Well, one thing I don't love is this tech shortage that's going on, because it looks like pre-orders are now being rescinded for those that managed to get one. My God, I was not one of them. Xbox and PS5, boy, good luck getting one in 2020. Man. Even the crazy graphics card that, Joey, you mentioned, that's having a shortage as well, right?
But getting one next year too, probably.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure AMD's gonna have a shortage. Everything's gonna be on a very short leash, I guess, for the next couple months until they can keep up with demand plus shortage of actually producing. So they're getting hit on both sides, and it's just gonna suck for a while.
It is a real bummer. I mentioned I went to GameStop the other day to get Crash, and I asked, like, how are the game pre-orders coming? And he goes, well, actually, he thinks there's actually going to be a shortage of the games coming out for the PS5, just in general, and so they're doing this wild, if you pre-order you get $10 back situation. It's kind of offsetting the companies that are raising the price of some of their games, like Ubisoft. Now it's like $70 for the PS5 and Xbox Series copies. So they're giving you $10, kind of like, hey, you get $10 and you can put that towards the next game kind of situation. I got one from Crash, funny enough. So, just in case, I ended up pre-ordering Assassin's Creed Valhalla for the PS5, and I did a tentative pre-order on Cyberpunk, because they don't even know if a PS5 disc is going to come out or an Xbox Series disc. But they have that free upgrade where you can pop it in your system. It just downloads the upgrade, I guess, patch. I'm not sure how that would work exactly. But according to GameStop, they don't think another wave is going to come out. Just every store gets anywhere from 3 to 10 consoles, and that's it. That's all they're going to get for the entire year. So this holiday shopping, just not going to happen. That's the way it seems. That's the way it's coming across to me, which is a real bummer because that's a huge part of a console launch.
I think they should have delayed it to next year. I think given the circumstances, it would have made more sense to do so. To sort of stockpile and get more in stock, I think it would have made more sense to delay it to next year. I don't think there was anything saying that they had to do it this year, and I think it would have been much more understandable. I think more people would have understood if they had said, hey, we can't launch it this year because we might have a shortage and not everyone's going to get one, and we want everyone to kind of get one. And so we're just going to do it to holiday next year.
I think a lot of contracts and whatnot will put a stop to that.
I'm pretty sure that's probably what it is.
Yeah, especially with developers and releasing games, it's like you just got to do it at one point. You kind of don't have a choice. I feel like that's what's happened here. Again, It's just a bummer that everybody who wants these new gen consoles just aren't going to get one, and I guess it's more time for me to save for a 4K TV when this day eventually comes.
Microsoft has said that they expect to have more at launch, so there might be another rush on November 10th when they actually are released.
Perhaps for North America. I have my doubts for the European market and the rest of the world.
Yeah, I have no idea about that.
Microsoft is here, as opposed to, say, Sony, which is in Japan, probably developing them in South Korea and China.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, I think Microsoft might actually have...
They released based on Zone.
I think Microsoft might actually have a bit more in stock because they've probably been prepping for this for, 2 years at least now? They've been preparing for this gen. They kind of gave up last gen.
Right.
So I think they might have they actually might have more stock than Sony because Sony's been concentrating on the PS4 generation for as longer than the Xbox has. So...
Yeah, can't really blame them on that
could
one.
be the case.
Yeah, but they're also
they lost hard.
they have the same AMD hardware for the most part, so they also depended on how quickly that can get produced. So it kind of slowdowns that production has. So who knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm in it for the ride. When I do see a PS5 eventually, I'm getting my hands on it. I'll just keep my eyes open. But I'm setting my expectations extremely low that 2020 isn't looking good.
I think I might be able to get an Xbox. I don't think the demand is as high as the PS5, but I don't plan on getting a PS5 until later either. Anyway.
All right.
That's probably what I'm going to do too.
And our last set of topic here is Xbox has spent a fuck ton of money in the 7 of billions to get the not so much Bethesda, but the company that owns Bethesda.
Was it ZeniMax?
ZeniMax, a piece of shit company, as it turns out.
Yes, shocking nobody.
But they get a lot of titles with this.
They get a lot of titles. This ZeniMax company seems to be a huge factor in why Bethesda games have gone downhill so hard in the last couple iterations of games. This was sorely needed for Xbox since they have such a hard time making their own IPs that now... it seems the Mass Effect series, Elder Scrolls, I guess Starfield? Is that the title?
Wait, you say Mass Effect? Mass Effect's EA.
What am I thinking of then?
BioWare? Because they're the
Fallout,
ones that made
that's
it.
what I was thinking of.
Oh. Yeah, Fallout.
I am mistaken. I meant Fallout. Yeah, Xbox gets a bunch of titles. It seems, my prediction is, these games aren't going to be exclusive right away. They, you have, unless huge contract changes happen.
They did say that I think there's a couple games that are exclusive on PlayStation that Microsoft or Xbox said they're keeping it. They're honoring that exclusivity at this time.
Right. I think they kind of have to. I want to say.
I don't know. I'm pretty sure there's clauses in these contracts that they could have backed out.
Yeah, there must be, right? And So maybe like the next round of games won't be exclusive. So you might not see these Bethesda games be exclusive to Xbox until halfway through the next generation here, which brings up interesting just thinking points on how important is this acquirement from Xbox.
I think it's pretty big. I mean,
yeah, Game Pass.
I can give you 8 pretty titles right here. They got Dishonored, Wolfenstein, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Doom, Starfield, The Evil Within, and Prey. So some of those franchises are pretty big. So once they start doing some exclusives, that's just going to be PC, Xbox. I think it's going to draw people to the Game Pass and to Microsoft to play these.
I don't disagree with that. My thinking point, and I was very curious about this, and Kay, I was mentioning this right away, is with Xbox, and we've seen a history of this, of them changing developers, right?
Right.
Just one curious thinking point was ID makes a good chunk of those games that Joey just mentioned. Doom, Wolfenstein, among two. Could we see a possibility, based on Xbox's history, taking ID away from them for maybe a cheaper developer?
I think they'd be really stupid to do that.
Don't see them. That is something that they would do, though.
Right, but they haven't done that in recent-ish years with, was it Phil Spencer at the helm? So I think they might not. There's a chance they won't. If they do, then they're shooting themselves in the foot, really.
Yeah, I could see them.
Those games are important for the developers that make them, or sort of how they're so good.
I could see them giving IP to these developers and saying, here, develop a Halo or develop this now.
I'd be down for an id Gears of War game.
An id Gears of War or Halo would definitely even grasp my attention, because then maybe they would actually come up with original ideas for those games, which is desperately needed at this point in time.
They did with Gears of War, it just wasn't any good.
Well,
they also did with Halo, technically, too, by turning Sheep into the bad guy and Cortana to the bad guy. Those were ideas that were done that weren't very good.
Well, I mean, one of the big issues with Bethesda for many, many years now has been their very archaic game engine. And the biggest positive I could see coming out of this is they finally upgrade that piece of shit, which has been plaguing their games forever now. But then there's also the negative that you can see, which is changing developers, maybe putting their own corporate ladder on them. But with ZeniMax, they were probably the dirt worst among the top-end terrible owners of said titles. So could go either way. We'll see what happens. It's definitely a very good purchase for Xbox. Is it too much money, maybe? I guess we'll see. Because that's gonna take a long time to make up that money, unless they throw in microtransactions into some of these games.
It's more than Star Wars. They spent more on ZeniMax than Disney spent on Star Wars.
Yeah, that's
a fact that happened.
That's weird. That's just chump change for them.
Damn.
They've got the third biggest company in the world. Yeah, they're good. They don't need to worry about that money. I think for me, the sign that's sort of the most positive is I saw something about how they've greenlit changes for the creation engine to fix it and upgrade it. Something that ZeniMax wasn't doing, and that apparently was being requested every year by Bethesda. It was just being denied by ZeniMax. So I think all that stuff we do on Bethesda might not even been Bethesda's fault as much as it was probably ZeniMax being a crap company.
Might be right. Probably right. We'll see.
Well, I guess we'll see, right?
Yeah, we'll see. I'm anticipating. Luckily for me and my fandom, this affects me none because I just didn't play Bethesda games anyways. So, lucky me. I'm glad of that. But I mean, till this day, I'm still very upset that Ninja Theory was the one that was bought out.
Right.
That's the one that actually affected me.
Because Senua's right. Senua's Sacrifice.
Yeah, that was one of them. And just the games that they make in general, I always liked and gravitated towards. Not a Fallout guy, not an Elder Scrolls guy.
I just played Skyrim. That's all I've ever played from them.
I didn't like the last two Wolfenstein games. Thought they were bad. Anyways.
Well,
good
get
stuff.
Nick Gordon to do the soundtracks for at least a couple of games, and you've got my attention. Of course, given what happened with id, that may or may not happen.
No, may not, maybe not. I'm gonna go to the anime drops here because I have one that's very appropriate for a game we're gonna discuss later. So let's get into our main topic, our retro games, our 3D fighters.
Okay.
That Kate picked for the podcast. Here we go. Drop coming. There we go. Nice short little drop. Kay, just to remind everybody, who are you, where are you from, and why did you pick this theme?
Yes.
Go for it.
I am Kay. I'm usually with you as, I believe, a co-host on the wrestling podcast. Go for it. I have my own podcast, the Big Egg Joshi podcast, where I talk about the old and new promotions and wrestlers, try to introduce you to each of them, give you a bit of background, some matches and title histories and stuff like that. It's sort of where I'm, I guess, with fighting games, been playing fighting games since I was, 8 or 9? Been in the arcades all the time, playing Tekken 3 and stuff like that. That's about it.
All right. And this was a topic you wanted to be a part of. This is something you contacted me about. I was all for it, especially since the days of Kevin seem to be in the past. He's very much busy with his Handsome Younger podcast. I'm sure he's having so much fun. Anyways, I'm not bitter about it. So Kay, you picked 2 games. I'm not the jealous type. That'd be weird. Kay, you picked 2 games. Joey, Colin, and myself each picked 1. I think we all know where I'm going, what direction I'm going in 2020. So Kay, bring us into our first game of the podcast. Who made it when it came out? You know the drill.
So Bloody Roar, right, was the first one I had picked? Bloody Roar 2?
No, it is the second one you picked.
Oh, so Tekken 3. Made by Tekken Team, run by Bandai Namco. Harada, the guy that's still in charge of Tekken, was also in charge of this one. It was sort of the first of the Tekken games to actually use 3D movement. As 1 and 2 sort of had like moves or certain attacks that would make you move in 3D, kind of like Bloody Roar 2 would do. Mm-hmm. This is the first one that actually had movement. You could double tap up and down to move left to right and strafe. It also is the one that introduced what's called the Korean backdash, which is sort of a popularized term from a sort of backdash technique that was popularized by a lot of the Korean players in the arcades. I think it's widely considered the best Tekken game. I guess Tekken 7 kind of took that now, but it's the most mechanically deep Tekken had been since the first and 2. I don't think Tekken really hit the same highs after this until 7. It was definitely very deep gameplay. Had a lot of mechanics that were added that would be perfected later, but were added well enough that the game played perfect. There were some problems, like broken characters like Jin Kazama being really busted, and that Gone dinosaur being also pretty busted. That's about it for that.
So the game came out in the spring of 1998. The developer was Namco, that for those that don't know. It's got a couple other game modes in this, which I found kind of fun. There's the volleyball mode, that beach volleyball, which is kind of funny. Joey, were we friends when at the height of this game yet? No, because you moved later. So I was playing this with other friends, I believe.
Yeah, I moved 2001.
Yeah. So this was the years of my other friends.
Other friends.
That I was really into Tekken 3. This was probably the biggest fighting game I played during my childhood.
Oh, it was massive.
Especially since I didn't have a Super Nintendo or Genesis growing up, but I had a PlayStation and I had Tekken 3. I remember renting Tekken 2 once from a Hollywood video, and then I saw in the PlayStation Underground magazine, oh, Tekken 3's coming out. Bro, dude, oh, sick, I want that. Got it for, I believe I had to wait till the end of the school year with my excellent grades to get Tekken 3, and boy, did I get it. The volleyball mode is kind of broken. but it's weirdly fun and aggravating. But the one I just on this replay, the one I remember playing as a kid, but not as much as I probably thought I should have, is the Tekken Force mode, which is like the Streets of Rage mode with awkward controls. Did you guys play the Tekken Force mode at all? It's like a side-scrolling beat-em-up with your Tekken characters.
No, I stuck with arcade mode.
Arcade.
Stuck with the arcade mode. Did any of you beat the crazy demon character?
Ogre? Or true? Yes. Oh, yeah, true ogre.
Ogre, not that fake ogre. Asshole.
No, true ogre. I beat him in the arcade ladder modes, I think, later on, but I never played it on PS1. I kind of played this one only in the arcades. I don't think I ever owned it until later. So I didn't get to play Tekken Force because that was exclusive to the console version, as was the volleyball mode.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the Tekken Force mode. It's just this weird Streets of Rage mode, side-scrolling beat 'em up minigame thing. It's weirdly fun. The boss battles are other Tekken characters, which is kind of funny. The arcade mode is definitely the go-to, obviously, and then you beat the game with other characters that'll unlock other things in the game. The character I always liked playing a lot of the different characters. Makujin he's the copycat wood thing, which is kind of funny. Copies the character that he's up against,
training
which
dummy.
Is kind of funny. Yeah, the training dummy. I found myself gravitating towards Paul Phoenix a lot with his kind of charge up straight heart punch attack that he does that makes a character fly across the screen. Takes away like 3/4 of his health. So that's how I beat arcade mode with this character. Really fun, like cheat coding and getting going. The short little dinosaur and just spamming the spin attack is a lot of fun. Then I also tried characters that I never really tried as a kid. Prototype Jack, the robot, the robot dude, totally not RoboCop, I found was a really strange character in this game to be.
He's a turtle character. You do not want to be offense heavy, you want to be counter heavy with him. So you want to try to like block a lot and wait for openings. He's still like that even now. Tekken characters don't really change in how they play. Well, except Jin. They changed him later on. But that's sort of how Tekken's always been. I played Julia Chang, so that's kind of how I played Tekken. That was the character I played a lot.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the two characters you associate, I forgive me if you guys have a different opinion, but I associate two characters with Tekken the most, and that's Jin Kazama and Hayachi, the old man with the lightning attack type things. It's like this game's Raiden character.
You forgot Kazuya though. Kazuya is also there, but he's not in this game. But he's in every other game. He's the only one he's not in.
I thought Kazuya is in this game.
Nope, he's not in it. It's just sure? Jin and Heihachi. Yep, Kazuya was not in it. Unless he was in the PS1 version, which I don't remember ever seeing him being in the game. But he was omitted from the roster until Tekken 4, I think. Or Tekken Tag. Whichever one came after, I forget. But I don't think he's in the game. But those are the Mishimas, as they're called. They're kind of like your Shoto characters in Street Fighter, your Ryu, your Ken. They all play differently. And I think Heihachi is more like your Shao Kahn. And he is your Raiden. He's sort of more closer to like a boss character than he is anything else. Playable boss character that's not as broken as Shao Kahn is.
I misspoke. It is not Prototype Jack. I believe that's a Tekken 2 character. Gun Jack is the one in Tekken 3.
Yeah, I think I know what you meant, though.
Yeah.
I always think of King when I think of Tekken.
The Tiger Mask character?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's got the German suplexes and the whatnot. He's awesome.
Inziguris and everything. He's fun.
Yeah, he's a goofy character. Lots of fun. I believe he's King 2 in this one.
Yes.
It is the second king. It's his son.
Yeah. So you're right. There's a weird progression to the characters in the Tekken series. It's kind of fun, too, at the same time.
Right. I mean, there's Force Law instead of just Law.
Right.
Julia Chang instead of her mother. So it's stuff like that.
I played Eddie a lot.
There's a panda in this game that bear hugs you.
There's also a Kuma, or a bear, that's also with the panda.
Yes, I think it's the alternative costume for the panda.
Yeah. Yes. Just like Kunimitsu was the same thing in Tekken 2. Yoshimitsu's alternative.
So this game has a lot of charm to it. I like the stages. One thing I feel like I hope we didn't miss, and I'm saying it now, is the music is pretty damn sick.
Oh, I was just about to mention that. I love the music.
Pretty sick air guitar.
The start screen where you put the quarters in, that thing's burned into my brain from the arcade. It's like burned into my brain. I love it.
Yeah. This game's all about button combinations rather than kind of arcing the D-pad and whatnot that you might get from a Street Fighter game. I find the Tekken series much more easier to get into and get better at. Am I alone on this?
No, that's what I always say. It's Tekken. The first thing you learn in Tekken is movement. Movement's very, very important. Once you get that down, just getting combos down, and sometimes you can just mess around. Don't even have to go into the move list. You can just, hey, this move chains with this move and this move, right? Just by playing it around. It's easy to get into. It's hard to master.
The only character I really could get combo attacks really working was Eddie. Everyone else just felt stagnant, but for some reason with him, I was able to be some smooth.
Oh, that's because Eddie's really cheap.
Eddie Gordo.
Really cheap.
Yeah, he is. Especially he can kick you low, knock you up, do some spin kicks.
There's a joke in the Tekken
Capoeira, horse gymnastics. Beat the game with the spin attack. Yeah.
there's a long-standing joke in the Tekken sort of player base. That is, you're a filthy Eddie player. If you play Eddie, you're just a filthy player. You're filthy Eddie player.
Well, I'm a filthy Eddie player because I suck at fighting games, and at least I can go decently far with him.
You filthy Eddie player. No respect for you. No respect.
But I have all respect for you, Joey. You just want to be a master capoeira prodigy like Eddie Gordo.
Well, I started out with King, and I think I only got to like stage 4 with King, but I was able to go a lot further with Eddie. But I found that if you attack first, most of the time, you're going to be the one that gets hit.
Yeah, counter and then combo punch back, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about timing. And I don't know, for some reason, I lost the match when I kicked someone. And I don't know how. I landed the kick, but I ended up dying.
So one of the cool things about this version of Tekken especially, it's sort of a mechanical thing that's in Tekken going forward, is the jab. You want to do a what's called an 8-frame jab. So if you attack first, that's what you want to do because it comes out faster than the other moves. So if you started the round with like a normal kick or a medium punch, you're gonna probably lose out depending on how hard the computer is going at you. If you do an 8-frame jab, which is just your neutral punch, then you have a higher chance of at very least attacking first and starting a combo. Bit of technical thing there for you.
Yeah, I do not know these things. I'm not well versed in the technical aspects of fighting games. But fun game. Colin, you've been pretty quiet on this one. Care to chime in?
Yeah, I should point out, much like what I said with our previous fighting game cast, fighting games are generally not Colin games.
Sure, that's fair.
So,
yeah, I'm there with you. I generally don't like fighting games.
I won't have as much to say.
Which is why you exclusively played the volleyball section of the game, right? Am I right?
I didn't even know it existed until now.
Ah!
It's great.
If I did, I would have played the shit out of it for sure.
Dude, it's very frustrating, but it gets ridiculous with some friends where you're just you try to spam combo attacks on a fucking ball and then it spins and it's ridiculous. You got to look up YouTube videos of this stupid volleyball game that's in it.
Are the characters in swimsuits?
That's DOA. No. That's Dead or Alive.
You gotta play Dead or Alive.
You gotta play Dead or Alive.
In that case, I'm not interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, how lucky for me that this game happens to be on the PlayStation Classic, so I didn't have to spend extra money on it.
There you go.
Yeah, and much like King of Fighters, I have never played a Tekken game, so just bear with me.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Okay, so what character did you find yourself liking the most?
I think I liked Law just because he's basically Bruce Lee.
Damn right he is. Wata!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
it's exactly what he is. Every fighting game has one Bruce Lee character. One of them do.
Yeah. Did you know he's a cop?
Nope. Didn't really bother to look up anybody's story.
Did you know his dad owns a restaurant and his entire story is how he keeps getting his restaurant burnt down and has to fight for money?
That is amazing.
It's a very Tekken story.
Probably goes to sleep smoking cigarettes, and that's how they always burn down.
In this game, it's his son Forrestlaw, the one that's disappointed in him because he keeps burning his restaurant down.
Yeah, to me it feels a bit like Street Fighter, except with no projectile attacks, so you're mainly focusing on melee combos and throws.
Half right with that.
Yeah, I'm just giving my pleb opinion. I mean,
no, they're good.
I can't say I really liked this one that much. It plays a bit slower than something like Soulcalibur 2 or one of the others we're talking about. I mean,
true. Yes, it does.
In that sense, it kind of reminds me of Samurai Showdown.
Okay, yeah, I see the comparison, sure.
But for me personally, it doesn't make that exciting of a game to play or watch.
It's interesting you say that.
Tekken
Tekken 3
didn't feel very fluid to me.
Yeah. So, fun little fact about this game. It is the 4th best PlayStation game that's sold. More than 8 million copies, so it's very popular. It's regarded as one of the greatest, not just fighting games of all time, but the greatest video games of all time. It has been on that list before. Excuse me. And I regard it as probably the best PlayStation fighting game, but I was perusing some lists over some of the best fighting games, at least 3D fighters, and Bushido Blade came up as arguably the best fighting game on the PlayStation. Kay, do you have anything to say about that comment?
So I have seen people play Bushido Blade. I have not ever personally played it, but it is very, very highly regarded. Kind of like Virtual Fighter. Virtual Fighter is very high regarded, and I've played a little bit of Virtual Fighter. It's one of those games that you see a lot, but you just don't hear a lot of people playing it unless you're in those communities. But it's high regards, yeah.
Okay. So you can get, I won't go over how long it takes to beat any of these games. They're fighting games. Play arcade mode, anywhere from 30 minutes to 60,000 hours is how long it'll take to beat. Tekken 3 goes for about
$8.
Right. Tekken 3 goes for about $8, so it's very affordable. You can find it anywhere on anything. I believe it's $10 on maybe $6 on the PlayStation Network for the store. So yeah, Tekken 3. I pass it. How about you guys?
I give it a soft pass. I mean, I recognize that it's pretty solid mechanically. I just couldn't get into it.
Okay, do you pass this game?
Well, of course. This is like my child. This is in Street Fighter Alpha 3, or like my childhood in the arcades.
Right. There we go. Joey.
I'll pass it, although I think it'd be a lot better if we got it remastered. I don't think the graphics are holding up too well over time.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's why Tekken 7 came out.
Yeah.
You're telling me creepy doll face hasn't aged well?
So other than that, yeah, I can pass it. It's fun to play, but I think it needs the remastering.
It's funny, as I recently got Tekken 7 finally for like $10. So, been messing about with that, and it feels a lot like Tekken 3. Playing them back to back.
Mm-hmm. They took a lot of the basis because they went away from the formula a little bit going forward, and Tekken 7 was sort of them trying to go back to what worked and perfect it. That's why Tekken 7 is considered the better Tekken now.
That's why it feels similar. Okay, good, good little facts there. Okay, your second game you picked, Kay.
Bloody Roar 2.
What possessed you to pick this game?
So,
were you a secret furry and you just haven't told me?
Let's not out that right now. So, Bloody Roar 2, I think was made by Hudson Soft. I believe that's the developer. No?
No.
Yeah, it was Hudson Soft for.
No, it was published by Hudson Soft.
Published. Right. So I had a friend that had this on his PS1, and I played it here and there. But what possessed me to bring it up was I saw a resurgence of people talking about Bloody Roar, and was like, "Oh, hey, this game exists." And I didn't want to do DOA 3 because it would be too similar to like Virtual Fighter or Tekken. So this is very different. It's got furry transformations. Different. There is no control of the 3D movement, so there's no strafing. At least I couldn't figure out how to strafe in it. There's no backdashing either. You can just back up a little bit. There is the furry transformations, which enhance your attacks, as well as when you transform with the opponent's near you, they take damage and get blown back.
Yes, they're called beast drives.
I just call them, and they're embracing their inner furry.
Oh yes, they certainly are.
But that's also
it's a fun game.
Kind of broken though, because you can end the first round in your animal form, and then you start the next round in the form, and then you can use your special right away in the beginning of the round. And
yes, it's incredibly broken.
It is a very broken game,
but it's still fun.
It is not fair. That's why it's fun. I think it's why it's regarded highly by people. It's not a competitive game, though. I think it was played competitively to some extent. It's just a brainless sort of I transform into a hot bat chick and beat you up sort of game.
The hot bat chick was the most broken character in the entire game.
Oh, she's busted. Like, really busted.
Her attacks are so fast that the character literally can't react fast enough in frames to block.
Yep. Her attacks come out faster.
Yeah, I'm like, I can't block anything. And then when I am the bat creature, the computer can't block anything.
I like the chameleon.
She is the Eddie Gordo of this game.
The chameleon is it gives me the creeps.
It
looks like he's already transformed.
Yeah, his body's all fucked up already, but like there's a way in the chameleon form to go invisible, which is ridiculous, but your shadow's still there, so it doesn't really do much.
It does absolutely nothing, especially because you can't move around as much.
So I'm convinced the I guess lead creator designer on this game was not just a furry fan, but is also a Thundercats fan.
What could give you that idea?
Well, because on the cover of the fucking game is basically the Thundercats symbol.
Does it also have to do with the fact there's a tiger and a leopard character that also transforms?
Yeah, and they look exactly like the Thundercats cast. They might as well call the main character Lion-O. I'm not kidding. Like, am I the only one that thought this?
Oh, you were correct. I believe the guy that helped direct and made it is on record saying that's where he got some of his inspiration from.
Ah, well, there you go. There you go.
I believe so.
Oh, man. And I also based this furry theory on the fact that there's a character called Alice that transforms into a rabbit, and it does not look like a rabbit. It looks like she just put on the furry rabbit costume.
Could you tell that we were trying to market this character as the this is our hot character, please buy game?
Yeah, I got that feeling. Absolutely. Sure. Yeah.
I think the bat character was better for that, though. That's just me.
Yeah, let's see. That bat... Jenny Berturi is the character's name.
I played a lot of Sheena, the leopard girl. I played a lot of her because she plays closer to some of the characters I played in other games. The bat character is busted. Super duper busted.
Yeah,
I played as Chameleon and Stun, the insect, because I liked his transformation. It was just so weird. I liked it.
Joey, are you telling me that your character you played the most was Goldberg?
Yeah.
The game came out at the height of Goldberg at WCW. That also cannot be a coincidence.
No, I'd imagine not.
No. The game came out in early 1999, and then it was like pieced out to other regions like over the course of the year. So January in Japan, April North America, July in Europe. Jesus. It took forever to come out everywhere.
Did you tell it wasn't very popular? And it would only become a cult classic later?
Yeah, I remember reading about the Bloody Roar games in the magazines growing up, but never saw an arcade cabinet of it anywhere.
They exist, apparently. They existed. I have never seen one nor seen a picture of one, but apparently they existed somewhere.
This game reminded me a lot of PlayStation trying to get their own Killer Instinct. That's what it came across as.
would be incorrect. I don't think that. I think that might have been half the reason why they at least got it off the ground. Because KI was really popular. Was it 99? Was it Killer Instinct 2? Was super popular.
Right, and PlayStation wanted to compete against. Yeah, and PlayStation wanted to compete against that, I guess, market, or at least try to grab that market for their own game.
Yeah, I still remember going into the arcade and hearing the KI machine because it was the loudest thing in the entire arcade. You would hear the combo breaker over every other game. So I think that was it was like the height of that. So I think they were definitely trying to get that, though I don't think this game was ever going to reach that. It just didn't have the sense of cool, loud music to it. Or cool enough characters, at least, either.
So I read a fact about the insect character with the beetle form. And apparently this is true, where the appearance was not mistakenly compared to the Unit 1 robot from Neon Genesis Evangelion. Apparently that was not an accident. So anything that was popular during the mid to late 90s, at least in the video game, like,
you see
pop
a lot
culture
of that.
world of Japan and whatnot, found its way into this game.
Yeah, a whole lot of that. Like, was it bunny girls were pretty popular in anime at the time? Got a bunny girl.
Yep.
Hot office lady looking characters that are mysterious. Batgirl. Your little shonen characters are in this one as well. Yeah, you said Ava Unit 1. That one was immediate. I was like, oh, hey, look, it's the Evangelion.
Yeah.
Goldberg. A whole lot of that. Yeah, there's a whole lot of that trying to get them to get it to be popular. It's a wonder why it didn't be so popular, actually, when you think about it.
Let's see. How did this sell?
Don't believe it sold that well.
Doesn't even tell me, so it couldn't have sold that well.
I mean, it's sold well enough to get 2 other sequels, I guess, but I don't know if that was just them still desperately trying to make it a thing.
Yeah. I did find it interesting that when you transform into your beast drive, that you do recover some health. I found that kind of mechanic interesting. So you can be on the brink of death and then use that as like a last resort. Kind of made some interesting gameplay there. If it was kind of refined better, that's for sure. But
you also regain what's called gray health. So if you block or get hit with something, if you stay still enough and you don't get hit, you recover some of that health.
I always find myself getting hit.
Oh yeah, but like if you get hit, it's like say you get hit and you back up some, that gray health that you get won't settle. It'll just go back to being full health. It's very much encourages follow-up combos to continue the damage and continue to keep the damage there. So it's if you play it defensively, you might make it okay, but it's hard to play this game defensively when the beast mode kind of breaks guards a lot.
Yeah. Yep, certainly does. Colin, Mr. Lover of Fighting Games, what did you think of Bloody Roar 2?
I only managed to watch YouTube videos of it, and even that I barely had time for. I mean, I watched maybe a little bit of it last night, because yesterday was a pretty full day with my family over, and I forgot to mention before, my parents are ripping apart our porch to put in a new one. So
deck builders. Oh, that phase.
Yeah, we spent most of yesterday just ripping out the floorboards and a lot of the joists, and then throwing it all in a big garbage bin to be hauled away later. And
so no thoughts then.
I wrote down like 4 bullet points. It's like, I thought the ability to transform into an animal was kind of cool. I like the anime drawing aesthetic of the characters in the character select screen, and and I like that certain big hits cause quick replays from multiple angles, much like a lot of anime. And that's pretty much all I wrote down.
Fair enough. Joey?
I mean, I liked it. I thought it was fun. I mean, I don't think it's a great game, but I think it's a fun game. I think some of the clipping's bad. Sometimes you think you're landing a hit, and the next thing you know, you're flying across the arena because they apparently hit you, even though you clearly were the one that was hitting. And some of the attacks aren't balanced. Some of them just do way too much damage, while others don't do anything at all. And it's just sometimes annoying. But I thought this game was a lot of fun. It was stupid, but fun.
Yeah, I can't disagree with any of that. It was goofy, that's for sure. It's definitely not something I find myself wanting to go back to, though, and that's why I'm failing this, especially compared to the other games we played. Is it fun with friends? I could see myself having a good time with this, but I played it alone, and for replayability value, I just didn't see it there. I just think it's too broken in parts. It has a lot of just interesting things I found funny about the game, so I'm gonna fail it, but it's one of those soft fail situations for me.
Well, I'm gonna soft pass it.
There you go. Okay, what do you think?
So I played this not all by myself. Actually, I played this with the girlfriend as well as I played Tekken 3 with her. So I got the perspective of also playing it with someone else. It is much more fun with somebody else, just laughing at sort of the bull crap coming out of it, of the weird broken moves and clipping and ring outs. There's a lot of ring outs you can do in this game if you know how to play that. But I'll probably also fail it. It's not something that holds up, especially compared to like a Soulcalibur 2 or a Tekken 3. It's pretty bad, and you can see why the series tried to pivot later on into becoming more of a true 3D fighter with the movement and everything in the third installment, but still failing. It's definitely not a good game on its own, at least. It's fun though, but not good.
All right, Colin, based on your little bit, pass or fail?
Soft pass, I guess.
All right. So Bloody Roar 2 is actually kind of expensive. It goes for over $25.
Well, it's not worth it for that. If you have to pay $25, then it's a fail. If you can get it for cheap or free, it's
on the PSN store. PSN, it's like $10.
There you go.
That's what I got it for them.
Okay. All right. My game. Yes.
Oh boy.
The time has come.
Oh Jesus.
Oh,
3D fighters. I thought long and hard about this, guys, and I came to the conclusion I could only pick one game for this. And it is on the 3DO. It also came out on the Super Nintendo and Genesis, but of course I did not play that. I played Ballz on the 3DO.
You certainly did.
Yes. And the 3DO version was a director's cut of the game.
I can't imagine it made it any better.
Dude, it came out in 1994, developed by PF Magic and published by Accolade. Of course, we've heard of all those things, obviously. Yes, agreed.
Heard of Accolade.
Yeah,
I heard of Accolade.
Yeah, so the game is stated on its cover, The Battle of Ballz, so you know exactly what you're getting there. You have a various amount of characters made of, you guessed it, balls that look like what they're going to be. So you have a clown that is red and yellow balls that's called a boomer, so cue up your okay boomer jokes immediately. You have a bodybuilder type, Crusher, which is like this rhino ball conglomeration. You got a ballerina dancer, a caveman, the sumo character, which was I found myself playing a lot of. The monkey can go suck one. It has a fart attack. I don't know how that works with balls, but anyways. Yeah. Visually and graphically, it does a lot of interesting things of the time, which hadn't been seen before with the fully interactive and motion-controlled environment. It puts you up in an arena with a lot of tube televisions saying goofy phrases and the whatnot. It has annoying boss fights, 5 in total. One is the ultimate boss, which I could not beat, no matter how much I tried to break the game. It was impossible. It has reviews of at best 6 out of 10s. And then the best one was from the Next Generation magazine, which rated it 2 out of 5 stars, and the quote taken from it was, "If you accept its looks, it plays fine. But this is much yesterday's technology as any sprite-based fighter attempting to get away with digitized characters. It's almost too bad it's just a game out of time," which I find funny because the actual, 3D visualness of it was ahead of its time, but the game itself was behind the times. Yeah. For those that are wondering, the final boss is called the Jester, and he's an asshole. He's black and white balls, and he juggles balls, and he's one of the most difficult fighting bosses I've ever experienced in gaming. So, yeah, he's a dick. Did you beat him, Kay? Did you even play the game long enough to get to that point?
I don't know how you even got that far. I played 5 minutes, said, screw this game. I hate everything about this. This is the worst fighting game I've ever played, and I played the Street Fighter movie game. This is awful. And I played those
Sounds
awful
like
Mortal
you
Kombat
didn't even
games
give
too.
Ballz a chance.
I gave it 5 minutes. That's all it deserved. It was awful. How do you do combos in a game? It's a 3D fighter. I'm expecting combos. Okay, cool. No combos. Or if there was combos, I couldn't be fucked to find one. It was awful.
There was not.
It was awful. I couldn't even pick a character. I just landed on a character, played it for a couple minutes, landed on another character a couple minutes, like, fuck this game. That's not. And I played the Genesis version. I was like, screw this game. Screw
the worst version.
Screw everything about this game. How this is even a game is beyond me. It's not a fighting game, it's a travesty.
Joey?
And I think you spent way too much time on it. 5 minutes is way too long. Here are my exact notes. Fuck this music. Nope. This is just bad. F, least. And this wasn't even the last game I played. I had 2 games after this I played, and I just knew that nothing could be this bad.
See, I set the standard so low that it made every other game seem so much better.
Yeah, it makes every other game a masterpiece on this list compared to this shit. I tried the sumo guy. I played all of a minute. I was against someone that had a long range attack that I could never get close enough because they would hit me before I can get in range to hit them. And it was annoying.
I believe that's the superhero character that has a hurricane attack. It's the only character that uses a ranged attack. He is a very broken character. I watched a YouTube video of a guy just spamming the ranged attack, and he beats the game. Except he had to cheat code it for the final boss as well. Yeah, there are master Ballz players out there. There are master players of Ballz.
There's 2 people probably. This game sucks.
They do exist.
How can people even play this?
Colin,
oh,
did you play with my balls?
I played with some balls.
Okay.
It's certainly a unique game, if nothing else.
Ah, yes. I'm glad you see this.
I mean, it seems easy to pick up and play for newbies, but it's hard to pull off any cool moves.
That's because there isn't any.
There are no cool moves here.
The only cool moves I saw were from the computer, or anything remotely close to that. It's kind of interesting that the game makes you use your imagination as to what the characters are supposed to look like, but doesn't make me want to continue playing for longer than 10 or 15 minutes. Playable, but not interesting.
Which version did you play?
Genesis.
Okay. So nobody played the Super Nintendo version?
I did.
Where it was...
I
you
did.
did.
Super Nintendo version.
Did you notice it was heavily censored?
I still couldn't tell because the music was just moaning women. I was so confused what the hell is going on.
You are correct. That is all the music.
You were correct. And a lot of its raunchy terms that are in the Genesis's 3DO's version, the 3DO version ramps it up tenfold because it's the director's cut, ladies and gentlemen. So many of the double entendres of balls maybe used for the term testicles do show up, really hitting that joke home on those screens. You got to play Ballz. So the SNES version changes all of the jokes, so it's no longer funny. They try to mute out a lot of the sound effects, if you will, especially with the ballerina character. Yeah, it was, and it still got a, I believe it was a mature rating before even the ESRB was a thing for the Super Nintendo version of the game. So, yeah.
That should tell you something.
This game is at least a conversation piece. And I have fun talking about it. It is an easy fail. It is a bad game. It is factually a bad game. Does everybody fail it?
Yeah, I think this might be the worst game
offends me.
we ever played.
This game offends
I keep trying to one-up the worst game you've ever played, Joey.
Well, I'm trying to look at the list of Fs we have, and I don't know which one of those games is worse than this one. Maybe Home Alone.
Oh, well, I didn't pick that one.
But I think this might be the worst game we've ever played.
Excellent. Really spiking that list. All right.
This game offends me on every level.
No, Colin, it's your pick.
Yes, it is. I'm so glad to have this as a palate cleanser. So, the game is Soulcalibur 2 on PS2, Xbox, and GameCube. Transcending history and the world, a tale of souls and swords, and lady bits, eternally retold.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ballz is $5, by the way, for those that are wondering.
Too much.
Not even worth that.
But yeah, Soulcalibur 2, developed by Project Soul and published by Namco. Released on PS2, GameCube, and Xbox in Japan on March 27th, 2003. In North America on August 27th, 2003. And in the EU on September 26th, 2003. And this game is a big part of my teenhoods. And I got the GameCube version because Link. Yeah, I marked out hard. For those who don't know,
I remember when this game came out and the 3 characters exclusive to whatever console you got on it, like it was the talk of the town at school.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my god, because if you were a Marvel guy, you got the Xbox version, and because Halo was all the rage, a lot of people had Xboxes. All the Nintendo fans were like, "Fucking Link, brah!" And then PlayStation got Hachi. It's like, well, I already have Tekken, so who cares?
Exactly.
Yeah. Fun fact. Cloud from Final Fantasy VII was originally intended to be the PS2 exclusive character, but
he should have been.
The licensing deal fell through at the last minute, according to Wikipedia, so they used Heihachi instead.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Also, Square had their own fighting game they were releasing at the time with Cloud and other FF characters in it.
Oh my god, that did happen. All right, we don't speak of that game, though.
Yeah.
It definitely did.
Yeah, for me, way back when, having Link as a guest character in a fighting game blew my mind, so I ended up pre-ordering the game on that alone. Yeah, marked out super hard there.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. And fittingly enough, his various unlockable weapons are from the various Zelda games, i.e. the Master Sword, Megaton Hammer, and Big Goron's Sword from Ocarina of Time, Great Fairy Sword from Majora's Mask, I think, and the Cane of Birna from Link to the Past, and so on. But yeah, this game's a little different from most of the others on this list in that you get weapons. Each character has their own unique weapon. Like Link obviously has a sword and shield, but then you got characters like Maxie who use nunchucks, Song Mina who uses a halberd, and Yoshimitsu uses a katana combined with a flag. You get the idea. And the game itself is quite fun. It's one of the easier titles for newcomers to pick up and play while still having enough depth to keep hardcore fighting game fans satisfied, at least from my perspective.
Wholeheartedly agree.
Yeah.
What was the aim when they made it? To make it easier.
Yeah. And it has very fluid fighting. It's like each slash and kick flows really well into the next, something I didn't quite get in Tekken 3. I mean, heck, even beginners can pull off some impressive combos with enough effort. And this is easily one of the most fan servicey games on this list. Not quite Dead or Alive tier, but it's up there. I mean, I remember playing versus mode with some friends back in high school, and whenever we played as female characters, and one of them, i.e. Song Mina, got knocked down in such a way that the ambient wind was blowing her skirt up, we just stop the fight and linger on the view. Gotta love being a horny teenager, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. I was never a horny teenager. I had control of my emotions.
Yeah. We also nicknamed Taki Captain Jiggles for obvious reasons. I suppose Ivy could also fall under that umbrella.
Absolutely. I was definitely the Ivy character. A lot. That's just because of her extendo weapon that she's got. I forget the name of what the weapon's actually called. That was the one I was playing the most on this time around, and this has quite the story mode to it all. Lot of exposition.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And I played Soulcalibur 2 probably the most for the podcast. I played the Xbox version. That's what I have. Spawns the character, as mentioned prior. But, yeah, I was as soon as I found that... because I hadn't played this in many, many years, a couple decades almost at this point. I remember a lot of people playing the GameCube version in college when I was up in Michigan, now that I think about it. But yes, I played this one the most just because it had that story mode, and there was a lot to it. It has the whole backstory of you got to collect all the Soul Edge pieces to get your ultimate weapon, blah-de-blah-de-blah. There's a lot of things that it talks about that I'm like, whoa, that's a lot of text. So that's what I kind of focused on. Yeah, and I was Ivy the whole time. Very fast gameplay, very easy to pick up and play. Like you said, Colin, I think it was the easiest to enter into out of any game on this list.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, even me, who wasn't into fighting games way back when, found this game super fun. I mean, me and my brother used to play versus mode a lot, and after a time he'd begin consistently beating me, even though he wasn't as big of a gamer as me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was fun. Playing as Link was super fun. It was fun to like use his various weapons. Like you can load up his bow and arrow, or his boomerang, or even a bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And you can do like his various sword techniques, one of which is similar to his sword spinny thing from Smash Bros.
Mm-hmm. Now, Kay, maybe you can explain how the big main, I guess it's like a parry system or a guard system that's into this game.
The clash system, as it was dubbed. It works if it's two attacks hit at the same time of the same varying length. So, like, if you hit a medium attack and they hit a medium attack, I believe that's when it starts. I couldn't get a feel on it because sometimes it would do it even when I didn't have that going on, which I didn't think. I played Taki a lot for reference. So I don't know entirely, but it would be like a white flash that would come up and it'd be this whole clash thing. I don't remember it being used a lot competitively, but I think in competitive forums, people knew kind of what attacks worked and what didn't, so the clash system didn't always happen a lot. At least not that I could see, because this was also in the arcade that I was at. I played a little bit of it, but not a lot of it, so my arcade experience was pretty low. I played a lot more of it, I guess, now on the PS2. It's very fast, very mechanically. I think it's deep, but it's not as deep as later Soulcalibur games would be. It's sort of the inverse of Tekken, whereas Tekken 3 was pretty mechanically deep, but hard to get into, and would later try to scale back some of that to make more people come into the game, and then go right back to it in Tekken 7. It seems Soulcalibur would have a reverse trajectory, where it started off more simple mechanically, where the depth wasn't always there either, to some extent, and then it would try to get more complicated later, and would drive people away. Also, cutting out cast members would do that too, I guess. But this one is definitely one that I think I enjoyed playing more, because Tekken 3, Muscle Memory came back, and I played that a lot. Bloody
Sure.
War was kind of fun, but this one as a solo play was fun. The story mode was I found myself skipping through a lot of the text. That's what because it was just too much, way too much.
All right, I wasn't alone.
Yeah, I thought the clash system had more to do with the guard, because if you like push forward and guard at the same time, you can see, like, for example, Link, he'll thrust his shield forward, and then if you time it right in time with another person's attack, that would like make them stagger and then leave them open for an attack.
It reminded me
it was
of
that.
The system reminded me a lot of Samurai Showdown in its clash attacks, the flat or the flash attacks, and how you can like disarm the people or really cut them and seriously do damage. It seemed like they were going for that idea and then trying to make it their own. That's just how it came across to me. I never got a feel for it at all through this playthrough, so that was interesting. I do get what they're going for, but I think it wasn't fleshed out quite yet at this time. I do like the amount of unlockables you can get with characters' costumes. It encourages you to play more into just the game itself, go into the story mode, do the arcade mode. The team battle mode is very King of Fighters, where you just get a ton of characters and play against each other. That's fun. I definitely see that being super great with friends and a group of people. There's a lot to like about this game. It's definitely an easy pass for me. I like all the uniqueness of the characters and their weapons. That's what sets it apart. Yeah, easy pass for Soulcalibur 2.
Yeah,
Joey,
easy pass.
What'd you think?
I mean, I'm gonna pass it. I like to play as a Nightmare. My only issue is playing the arcade mode. I thought the computer got really hard out of nowhere. I went from breezing through until almost getting perfect the next round over, and I don't know if I just
4
really
characters in?
I think I got up to stage 5, maybe stage 6, and then all of a sudden I almost got perfect. Like I had to get a jab in there so I didn't embarrass myself. So it was still a lot of fun. I mean, I agree this is the easiest one to get into as someone who doesn't like fighters, so I'm definitely going to pass it.
There we go. All right, Joey. Last game.
My pick, which is kind of very different from the others.
Soulcalibur 2 is about $10-15, depending on what console you get it on. Nintendo being the most, Xbox being the least.
My pick, Dragon Ball Z Budokai. Developed by Dimps and published by Infogrames and Bandai.
Infogrames! They're back, boys! Biggest
really
publisher we cover on this podcast.
Is it?
It just comes up on every podcast. We just get an Infogrames game. It's like never fails, and we don't do it on purpose.
They just have their hands in everything.
Yes.
They're the Netflix of publishers. They don't say no.
We need to cover Roller Coaster Tycoon eventually.
Is that an Infogrames as well?
Yes. I think they actually developed it.
Wow.
It's actually good.
I played Roller Coaster Tycoon. Yeah, I like killing people on roller coasters. It's fun. Give me your money, and then it's death.
But Budokai, what can you say about it? If you like Dragon Ball Z, it's a lot of fun. I found myself playing the tournament, but I don't like that you had to, at least on the PlayStation 2, you had to go through that tiny story, or I had to for some reason, before I could actually get to the main menu for all the modes. And that was a little annoying. Yeah. I did not like...
it was a timed exclusive for the PS2. It came out November 2002, and then GameCube came out a year later in 2003.
I didn't like
that are wondering.
The special beam cannon type thing. That was boring. But I like to play the tournament. Once I get into that, I just played as Nap in the tournament. But I didn't like that if you actually choose custom and you didn't set up custom, you don't get any special attacks.
So, that's lame.
So it doesn't give you like the default unless you changed it. It just gives you nothing. So you go in with just kicks and punches. So, yeah. I
find myself doing the storylines because there's there's like 3 sagas, and they call it the what if storylines for each arc. It has the Vegeta arc, the Frieza arc, and the Cell arc, and I thought that was a good kind of nod to Dragon Ball fans. So if you're a Dragon Ball Z fan, and if you were alive in the late 90s, early 2000s to know what Dragon Ball Z was, you were a fucking fan of this series. Like, everybody on the planet was all about the Dragon Ball Z, especially in North America. This is a very good nod to fans of the anime, and this was not a cash grab kind of game. This was very fleshed out. A lot of good nods to the series, and it wasn't to the point where the characters were overly animated. There was nice voice acting in it. There's a story mode, there's duel, there's the world tournament, the legend of Hercules is in the game, Hercule, which is kind of fun. Yeah, there's a lot to like about this. Now, if you're not a fan of the anime, then I could see you just not really grabbing into the game itself. But there's a reason why this is regarded as a really just fun 3D fighter. But it's big. Again, I can't preface this enough. Its big selling point is the fact that you are a fan of the anime. Anybody disagree with any of that?
No, it leans heavily into that. Even with the music in the intro being very much of the American version of the game. At least the one that I saw, because I kind of watched this on YouTube.
Yeah, and I could be mistaken, but I think they got the voice actor for the tournament announcer, or he sounded very similar to the one in the show.
Next time on Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, it's that guy.
Well, the guy who does the announcements in the tournament that stands in the ring, the guy with the glasses that they always see. Like, it sounded like him when he was announcing Nappa versus Krillin. So.
Joey, did you have a Ghost Nappa experience with this game?
Oh, God.
I just had to play as Nappa, and that was fun. So... But I like that you can customize your stuff, although I didn't spend time to do it, which I guess makes it completely different from everything else on this list. You can go with just the set, but then you can also build your own, so I guess technically you could be Nappa and have Goku's movesets?
Yeah, I believe that is correct, yeah. There was a lot you could... I like how simplistic this was, to be honest, because... I've played some of the newer Dragon Ball Z games, the one from this year, for example, that came out, and they just make it so overly needlessly complicated with its control schemes, because so many characters in the series now have ridiculous overpowered moves. This one kept it simple. It's just you have, your punch kick, get into the air, that's your 3D movement, and then your blast attack. Like, it's very simple, and then you just use different combinations to unleash different things, unique to the character. I thought that was it was done well. It definitely reminds me of the Naruto game I spoke about earlier on the podcast. There's a sense of charm to the characters being more simplified than how the series itself evolves. Do you agree with this, Kay?
Yes, very much. It seems, from what I was able to see of it, to even be up to a certain point before things got really ridiculous with the characters. I don't think it even covers Majin Buu, right? I don't think I remember seeing anything of that.
No, it stops at the Cell saga.
So before things got really overly complicated.
Correct.
And going further beyond and going Super Saiyan 3 and screaming for 5.5 minutes.
Yeah, Budokai 2 has the Buu saga.
Yeah.
Right. I played this as a kid with a bunch of friends on their PS2s because I don't think I ever had this game. I think I got the second one later.
Mm-hmm.
It's I do remember it being fun. I remember always trying to figure out how to go Super Saiyan and going into the menus and trying to figure out how to go Super Saiyan all the time. I didn't know you could switch move sets with other characters though. I don't think I ever did that. We'd always try to be like, I'll be Goku, you be Frieza, and we'd always have to do rock, paper, scissors on who had to be the Frieza or the Cell or the androids. It was definitely a fun game as a kid, especially because I was such a giant Dragon Ball Z fan as a child. As I guess many were at that time.
Absolutely. Yeah, I was looking up fun YouTube videos of people playing these various fighting games for the podcast, seeing if they were doing goofy things or trying to beat the game in cheap ways. Just having an overall fun time with it. And one guy beat the game with Krillin, and he kayfabed himself into his own story where Goku was the one who died and Krillin turned Super Saiyan. It was really funny. He put in, he was like making up his own story overdubbing what was actually happening in the game, where Nappa was the one that survived and Vegeta died from this like cheap death, and Nappa was actually the main villain of the game. It was really funny. I wish it's just, if you search Krillin beats Dragon Ball Z Budokai, you can probably find it. It's super goofy. I don't have much else to say over the Budokai game. You can get Budokai pretty cheap, actually. GameCube goes for about $8. The PlayStation version goes for about $6. People overprice this game a lot in various places, so be careful of that. That is something I've noticed. Where they claim it's like a new price and it'll cost you like $40 as opposed to just get it loose, cost you under $10.
That's why I didn't get it in time, because I kept finding the overpriced ones. I did not see any of the lower priced ones. I saw like $100 for the original PS2 game. I saw the re-release. The release with Budokai 3 was like $108 to like $60. It's just like I didn't want to spend that much on this game.
It's way too much. That is not what they go for. Like, you can just search eBay right now and get a GameCube game for $8.
I think it's even the same thing with like the Pokemon games, right? It's just like, oh, this is a popular thing. Surely I can like charge $100 and someone will buy it. And people, I guess, do buy it. So that's why it stays that way, right?
Yeah.
I guess, but I think that Tenkaichi Budokais are better than the original Budokai.
Those are the ones I played a lot, especially the third one. I had that on the, I think it's the GameCube. I had that one on.
So yeah, I thought Tenkaichi.
You had the Tenkaichi games, don't you, Joey?
Yeah, I have the third one. I think was my favorite. So, but yeah, I mean, Budokai is definitely a good predecessor, but not worth $100. Like, what the hell?
No.
Oh no, definitely not.
So yeah, as a fan of the anime and a fan of this game, this is an easy pass. I remember playing this as a kid, but it's been a long time. This was a pleasant surprise. Shocked me how much I just enjoyed having that word fun as opposed to another game on this list. So, easy pass. So a lot of successful games on this podcast.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to pass this.
I should point out that because I didn't have cable TV growing up, I wasn't as much into Dragon Ball as everybody else.
Gasp.
I knew of its existence. I knew it was popular, but I couldn't watch it unless I was at friends' houses.
Oh,
although I did the next best thing and read plot summaries of every episode online on a dedicated fan site, so I at least knew what was going on. And I have watched all of Dragon Ball Z Abridged. Hilarious. I mean, the game itself isn't too bad. The best version of
Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, you shut up. The only thing that good came out of that was when Joey showed me Ghost Nappa.
So, what about Cell, though? And Guru?
Yeah.
And Frieza.
Everything's good about Bridge.
I mean, Little Karibo himself. Little Karibo himself voiced Frieza.
He did.
Yeah.
You were saying, Colin?
The game itself isn't bad. I mean, it's a little stiff compared to Soulcalibur 2, but still decently fun. I mean, one thing you saw here you didn't see much in other games was the characters flying in the air. I mean, didn't change anything.
That's what set it apart. Yeah, absolutely.
Didn't really change much mechanics wise, but it's still cool to see. But yeah, I passed this
power up button attack as well. That was a thing that they added in, a very necessary thing for fans.
Absolutely.
Hey, don't jab me.
Guy got screamed for 5 minutes, go Super Saiyan, bro.
Exactly.
And Kaioken.
All right. So our so everyone passed DBZ Budokai. Our 5 games we chose for this podcast were Tekken 3 on the PlayStation, Bloody Roar 2 on the PlayStation, Ballz on the 3DO, Super Nintendo, Genesis, the oldest game on this podcast, I mind you, Soulcalibur 2, PS2, Xbox GameCube, and Dragon Ball Z Budokai, PS2 GameCube. Colin, I'll start with you.
All right.
Favorite game, least favorite game, and your tier rankings.
Well, this will come as a surprise to absolutely no one. Soulcalibur 2 is my favorite. Least favorite is Ballz.
And
Interesting.
Ballsy choice.
In no particular order, Tekken 3 gets a B. Soulcalibur gets an S.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm biased. I played the shit out of it as a teenager, but I still
That's
really
fine.
like it. And DBZ Budokai gets a B. Ballz gets a D. And Bloody Roar a C, I guess, from what little I saw.
Joey, how about yourself?
Surprisingly, least favorite is Ballz.
Oh my god, you got balls saying that to me.
Favorite was DBZ Budokai. Ranking B for Tekken, C for Bloody Roar, F for Ballz, A for Soulcalibur, and B for Dragon Ball Z.
Okay. My favorite might shock people. Despite my nostalgia and me playing Tekken 3 the most as a kid, I am going with Soulcalibur 2 as my favorite for the podcast.
Ooh.
And the balls I had in picking this game is indeed my least favorite. It definitely deserves every bit of the F that Joey said it got. Tekken 3, I'll give a nice little A. Those extra modes put it over the edge for me. Bloody Roar 2, I'm giving a D. I just thought it was too broken of a fighting game itself and not much replayability value. I think that's really important in fighting games. Soulcalibur 2, I am going to actually agree with Colin in giving it an S tier. Because it had that epic little story mode to it. Little too text heavy and exposition heavy for me, but that's really my only complaint about the game as a whole. I thought it had incredible replayability value. And then Dragon Ball Z Budokai, I think, easily gets a B.
Cool.
Now, Kay, your favorite, least favorite, and your tier rankings.
So,
because you do matter.
I do, I guess. Tekken 3, I think, is going to be the one that's the highest for me, but I think a lot of that's playing through it and getting muscle memory back. I was really, really enjoying the game again. Soulcalibur, so I'll give Tekken like an S. Ballz offended me as a fighting game player on every level. I won't even give it a grade because it's not even worth that much effort.
Oh,
No, you have to give it a grade. That is the rule of the podcast.
Okay, F- then.
Yeah, there you go. That's fine. F for fine, right?
No. God, no. I hate that game. I would give Soulcalibur an A. I guess because I didn't play Budokai, but I have my memories of it and what I saw. I'd give that also an A. Bloody Roar, I'd give a C. I think it was just fun and stupid. That's kind of all I really expected from it. But Ballz gets an F-. That thing is horrendous, and 5 minutes was all I needed to tell that.
So we are at an impasse then. We have a conundrum. We have 2 S's and 2 A's on Soulcalibur 2. Which way do we lean is now the question.
Well, my A is because I just don't think fighters should get S. I don't enjoy them that much. But it is probably the best fighter on this list. So I wouldn't be mad if he gave it the S.
Yeah, I'd be willing to go S too on that if I really had to be pressed on it, I guess.
Okay, we'll just lean towards an S as an overall grade. How about that? Soulcalibur 2.
Sweet.
There you go. We're getting a little bit generous here as we get to the year's end, and I will continue to say that at the year's end, we'll have a special end of year episode, kind of finishing out with where we rank our best retro games of the year based on all our tier rankings. Only the ones that got an S and A ranking. If there happens to be 10 games that reach that S tier, then we'll just do the S. But we're doing our top 10 retro games we covered of 2020, and we'll do a top 3 worst games we did in 2020. That all the ones that got an F tier. I can't wait.
Don't you worry, though. I think our next couple episodes will have some pretty bad games.
What makes you say that, Joey?
Because my detective choice.
Yes. So our next episode is over bad tutorials. So games that have bad tutorials that get you into the game. Are they long? Are they bad? Are they not explanatory enough? That's our next episode. That's my theme pick. It's definitely a theme I've wanted to do for quite some time. And then we have the rest of the year kind of planned out for our themes, including detective games, TV-based games, pre-1985 games. We're going way back to the past there. And then we're finishing out the year with cult classics. So games that were critically acclaimed but didn't sell well upon initial release. So that's the premise there. We were originally going to do cult classic RPGs, but we could definitely do that for another podcast just by itself. No, this is cult classic RPGs. I'm sorry. I misspoke.
Far out, so we had time to play them.
Yeah, any RPG, we've definitely at least have plenty of time to play them, so very excited about all the podcasts coming. Kay has, at the very least, ghost picks, so if he's not able to make future podcast episodes, he will at least have a pick for each episode going forward. He is replacing Kevin. It's a good thing your name starts with the letter K. K. It's very good.
Yes.
Less confusing for the listeners, obviously.
Right. Not as handsome, though.
Not as handsome as his podcast, I hear.
No, probably not.
Just a rumor. Yeah. So very fun. That's our plan for the remainder of 2020. A fun year. And look forward to the podcast coming out on the YouTube channel, redleafretrocast.blogspot.com, for all the list of games we played and themes that we've done as a conglomerative list. Leave us a nice little review on iTunes. Hit us up on Spotify by subscribing. And the Twitter handles for the podcast, Red Leaf Retrocast, at BowlingJD, either or searching in the engine will do. And that's the podcast. Kay, it was nice having you on. Good little guest appearance.
Thanks for having me.
I'm glad everyone was here, and we are out of here. See you next time.
See ya.
Bye now.
Transcending history and the world, a tale of souls and swords, eternally retold.